What's up, guys? My name's Elbert, but most people just call me LB. I'm a pharmacist, but I have a little secret. I love animals. Okay, so it's not so much of a secret anymore, but ever since I was a child, I've been fascinated by all sorts of creatures, from the creepy crawlies like spiders and insects and reptiles, all the way up to the giants like elephants and whales. So I've decided to hang up my waistcoat to go on a journey to educate people and to learn about the amazing wildlife our planet has to offer. I'll be bringing some cool critters into my home and also taking you guys to some fun locations. I'm excited to share my wildlife adventures with you. So please subscribe to my channel, watch and like my videos, and join me, Elbert the Adventurer, on my journey to explore the world one animal at a time.
Let's piece these broken pieces together. We are on to episode 19, Fumble Podcast. My name is Pej, your host, and if you've been enjoying the past 18 episodes, go ahead and give me a like, illuminate that notification bell, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. I'm very excited today to reconnect with a friend from college, but he's doing some really fun stuff, and I wanted to bring him on today and pick his brain on this subject because I can admit I'm not as big of a an animal lover as he is. However, I admire how brave he is to approach these wild animals that he has videos of out. He has an Instagram channel where he posts frequently of his adventure. His Instagram handle is LB the Adventurer. I knew him back from UC Davis. However, I knew him as Elbert or LB. Welcome to Fumble Podcast. How you doing, man?
I'm well. Thank you so much for having me. I'm honored to be here. Just glad to see you again, man. It's been a while.
Yeah, man, it has been. For people who don't know, we used to actually, surprisingly, we reconnected by realizing we live in the same neighborhood for a while.
Exactly.
So that was a pleasant surprise. But man, all those times in college, I know you had a voice on you, and I knew we that's how we connected through a gospel choir and all that. But your passion for animals, I would have never really guessed it until I saw your channels and seeing, wow, he's definitely brave to go up with these things. And I want to know about how you mustered that courage, or even if it was a thing at all. But let's go back and start from I guess the beginning. So where were you born, and where did you initially start having a passion for animals in general?
Yeah, for sure, man. So I actually born and raised Elk Grove, California, just a suburb of Sacramento here.
I would have never guessed, man. That's crazy.
Right? I know, man. I am an Elk Grovian at heart, a Sacramentan at heart. Yeah, so just grew up here, and it's a funny story. So I used to play a lot of sports. I was a soccer player, ran track, and a baseball player. And I don't remember how old I was, but my dad, so I had a lot of cousins and friends with cable television, and I was like, I want cable. So my dad bet me. He's like, if you hit a home run the next game, then we'll get cable TV. So the very next game, I knocked one out of the park, and so he kept his word, got us cable TV, and it was through that I actually came across the Crocodile Hunter, Steve Irwin.
Yeah.
I was hooked from the very first episode I watched. Like, I like
Wow.
just watching him interact with the animals, watching his enthusiasm, his passion, his knowledge, right?
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
just really incited like a passion within me for wildlife, and it was really from that moment on that I loved animals. I
And how
mean,
old were you at this point when you discovered Steve Irwin?
oh, I must have been like 9 or 10 years old.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, I must have been like 9, 10. Yeah, it was pretty young. And yeah, just from a silly bet with my dad for cable television.
I mean, look at
um,
it though. That's crazy, right? And for the younger audience, cable television isn't even like a big deal, right? But like
right,
for us, like because I have similar stories to having to earn my cable,
right.
whether it was through good grades or other accomplishments. But that's cool, man. That home run got you your whole career. Look at
Exactly,
that.
exactly, right.
That's awesome. Um, so before that though, did you like did you have pets at home? Did you have like were you, fond of animals, just seeing them, not obviously the crocodile hunter, but outside of that?
Yeah, I mean, there was always an interest there. We didn't have a lot of pets. My mom is is not an animal person, but I
I
always
see.
grew up with at least one dog. So
Okay.
when I was born, my parents had a Chihuahua that they had since before I was born. Then after he passed, we got my dog Buddy, who I had until just a few years ago. Actually, he
Mm.
was about 20 years old when he passed away.
Wow.
So I've always grown up at least around dogs, but we've
Yeah.
had rabbits, birds, we've had a few different things, but nothing creepy crawly. My mom was like, no, no creepy crawlies. Yeah.
Yeah, I think my mom would agree with that. But well, so that's cool. So and then so in comes what was it, Animal Planet or whatever channel that was on, and then you
Hmm.
you you find Steve Irwin. You know, rest in peace, of course. Tragic way for him to go.
Yeah.
What were your thoughts on that, by the way? Like, it was what was the animal that got him?
Stingray.
Stingray. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stingray.
When you heard about that as an adult, what were your thoughts on that? Because that was kind of your inspiration, right? So
Yeah. Yeah. I think I had just turned 18, like a week before that happened.
yeah.
I like I'm not a huge like celebrity person, but I literally cried. I was like
Oh
that was
yeah.
my hero, man. Like, and it was just I mean, it's cool to know that he went out doing what he loved, but like, just sheer randomness of a stingray killing someone, it, like, nobody gets killed by stingrays. Like, it's so rare. Like,
And I
I've
mean,
swam with like several of them. Like people do it, millions or thousands of people do it every day at least.
wow.
And yeah, just I mean, he was wrangling crocodiles, venomous snakes, and it's just the most random thing. So that was heartbreaking, but it's cool to see his legacy live on through his kids and
Right.
his wife. And I had the chance to go to his zoo a couple of times actually in Australia. And so just to be in a place where he did some work was the place that he built was amazing. It was a good experience. It
That's
was
like the mecca. That was like the mecca for you, probably.
exactly, exactly. I tell people Australia is like the mecca for wildlife. So
I,
and
I,
Australia Zoo is like that place. So yeah.
wow, wow, man. Yeah, that was crazy. With the stingray incident, that was I mean, it's almost ironic,
Right,
like
right,
because
right.
yeah, he was wrestling gators. I mean, if there was a way, I mean, like you said though, he went doing what he loved. So, and then his kids and his wife are carrying on his legacy. So that's huge. Now, when you learned of that, because at what age did you start going and actually exploring these animals yourself?
Yeah. Funny enough, like that 4 years ago, almost little under 4 years ago, maybe 3.5 years ago.
Okay, so it wasn't that long ago. Okay.
No, no. So, I've always had the passion, even in college. Like my favorite classes were like zoology, animal bio.
Yeah.
Um, I got to do this really amazing trip between my junior and senior year at Davis, where this researcher at Harvard, she's a grad student, she got some grant to take like two students to the Caribbean to catch lizards for her research. And so I just randomly applied. I wasn't even like, I wasn't going to go into like the animal studies kind of field. I'm
Yeah.
a pharmacist.
Right.
But I was like, I told her, I was like, listen, I love animals. I'm really interested in this research. I'm not going into this field after graduation, but I would love this experience. And so we did a phone interview, and she ended up selecting me. So flew me out to the island of Guadeloupe for like 10 days, just caught lizards and saw so many cool animals and snorkeled, and yeah, it was amazing.
Wow, that was your first time experiencing that.
So yeah, in that way, yeah. I'd been out overseas, a couple times before that, but that was like my first like wildlife centered trip. Yeah,
Wow, man.
yeah.
So what did you ever have any apprehensions about approaching these animals that some are poisonous, some are can be lethal even with their bites? I mean, obviously you can educate us on all of that, but like I guess like so this trip in college must have been just amazing, but and I want you to tell me about that experience more, but the first time you encountered, I'm wondering, like the first time you encountered a wild animal, um or you even had the idea of doing that, like when did if there were any apprehensions, when did that switch to no, this is my passion, I want to do it? Like how did that, I'm curious about that.
Yeah, great question. So I would say there's a couple moments, but the main one was actually on my honeymoon. So I got married back in December of 2017, and we went to the French Polynesian islands. So we went to Tahiti, Bora Bora, Moorea,
Oh, okay.
and so on that trip we had done we had picked some excursions, and one was to swim with sharks and rays, and so I
Wow.
was like, dude, I was doing that tour with my wife, and I was just like, the level of excitement, like, was so high. I mean, like, I'm on my honeymoon and I'm like super excited about swimming with fish, like that's weird, man. And
What does your
so
wife think about that?
no, she just thinks it's funny.
Yeah.
She's super supportive, of the passion. And so it was kind of there. I was talking to her, I was like, babe, I gotta do something with this. Like I gotta do something. Like I was out on the snorkeling tour, and I was chatting with my wife on the boat, and then the one of the guides from a different tour was like, manta rays, and like within seconds, I had my snorkel on, and I was in the water, like diving down to swim with manta rays,
Wow.
and it wasn't even like there was no hesitation, like there was zero fear,
And that was the first time.
that was the first moment where I was like I'm not scared, like I got to do this, like
Yeah, yeah.
I never really had like a fear. I'll get into this in a bit. There's only two animals that like make me nervous,
Okay.
but no, there's not like a fear. There's like a cautious respect, but not fear,
I see.
right?
I see. I see.
Yeah, like I'm not like reckless or anything
I
with my
see.
interactions,
Hmm.
but I'm not afraid of the animal per se,
I got you.
if that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah,
So, but
yeah.
that honeymoon trip, that was where I was like, I got to do something. So it was then that I decided to start the Instagram page, and
Right.
then a few months later, I started the YouTube channel. Yeah. So it's been incredible since then. So many cool experiences just in the last 4 years.
Man, so okay, I mean, I get that. I can understand that. First of all, the difference between what you were saying, fear versus the respect of the animal and all of that. Now, what were the two times you said two animals that you're apprehensive about or nervous about?
So, I- like those murder hornets, the giant Asian hornets.
Oh my God.
Um,
Yeah.
those guys, I mean, they just those I would say I'm a little bit of afraid of. Like I would not want to encounter a swarm of those guys. Um, and then the giant centipede, any giant centipede.
Okay.
Um,
Explain the giant centipede. How big are we talking?
oh, I've seen them like 2-3 feet long, like nasty bite. And they could be pretty aggressive.
Wow.
But you know, even though I'm afraid, I probably would still handle one under the right circumstances.
Okay. Okay.
They definitely scare me. Like I would not want to wake up with one of those crawling on
Man,
me for sure.
I mean, I don't. So in my ignorant mind about centipedes, the thing I think about is Human Centipede, that movie.
Oh
It was
gosh,
crazy.
I heard about the movie. I haven't seen it.
Yeah, you're not missing much. It's quite gnarly, but anyway, but no, so you said that the giant centipede has a deadly bite, or is it like, is it poisonous? How do you describe that?
It's venomous. It's not deadly. It just hurts. It'll hurt a
Oh, I
lot.
see. I see.
But it's just the way, like they're pretty what's the word I'm looking for? They're pretty persistent, like hunters, so that they go out searching for prey. And I've seen them take down like mice before. They get
Wow.
pretty big, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's just all the legs like crawling on you, and then the bite, like that just doesn't sound too fun. Um,
Yeah. I'm sure there's a bunch of audience members right now screaming. But it's, I mean, it's a very rare passion, right? I mean, it's not
right,
that rare. There's a lot of animal lovers, obviously, but to go in depth with wanting to handle them, right?
right,
I feel that not that many people want to do that, right? I mean, we talked about the Steve Irwin and his family, but and then yourself, and there's a few that I've seen on cable TV,
right,
and
right.
but so like going into deciding to start your channel, and then um getting this thing rolling, and kind of a segue, you mentioned that you studied pharmacy, and you are a pharmacist. By the way, I was watching a few of your videos on your YouTube channel, and in one of the intros you mentioned that you actually hung up your white coat. Did you literally do that, or?
Not literally, not
Okay.
literally.
Okay. Okay.
No,
Okay.
no, I still got to pay the
I had to
bills.
ask. I had to ask. Because I'm doing this as a passion, but I know I got to keep working too to
Right,
continue.
right.
Yeah. So, how do you first of all, like, how did you start finding locations and studying the places to go, and then like actually getting a camera set up and all of that? But more importantly, how did you find those places? Like, where would you look?
Yeah, that's a great question. So multiple avenues. I mean, I've always been like a pretty big traveler. And
Okay.
so actually prior to this to starting all of this, I had gone to Australia with a buddy of mine the first time. Like actually, was it the same year? I think it was like the same year I got married. It was. It was
Okay.
earlier that year before I had even proposed to. I got like engaged and married like within the same year. So
I
it
got you.
was 2017. I had gone to Australia for the first time, and actually, I would say that was part of what lit the spark. It was the honeymoon that really like put it on fire. But um, so I knew I always wanted to go back there,
Okay.
and see some stuff.
Yeah.
And then just honestly networking through social media.
Mm.
I started a page. It's hard to grow on Instagram. It's a lot of work.
It is. I know about that. Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
there were a few guys that actually followed me pretty early on, that had a
Mm.
bigger following than me. And so I was messaging back and forth with them, and they're out in Florida.
Oh yeah.
So Florida has some really amazing sanctuaries, and it all has to do with their kind of more lax uh, laws in terms of wildlife.
Yeah.
And so because of that, people get like lemurs as pets, or monkeys, or just stuff that shouldn't be pets.
Got it.
And then they end up realizing that, oh, like this is a wild animal, and so those end up at sanctuaries, right? When the
Right.
sanctuaries take them in, and give them the proper care and all that. And so those sanctuaries are great places because not only do they kind of rescue these animals, some of them are actually breeding endangered species. There's a sanctuary out in Florida I go to called Chase, and they specialize in lemurs.
Okay.
And so they have all species of lemur are endangered, but they have some critically endangered ones called black and white rough lemurs. So I just found out about them through a friend. Like he was there, and
Yeah.
then I was like, oh, I got to check this place out. So I went to Florida and checked it out.
That's
um,
cool. I see.
yeah.
I mean, so you started out by reaching out to other fellow animal lovers. You found locations that you wanted to visit,
hmm
Florida, Australia, being a couple, and
hmm
then as far as you know getting to these places, because I saw some of your videos, and you you have one of when you're it's called what was it called, gator something, where you're feeding, it's like a
Oh, Gatorland. Yeah.
Gatorland, right?
Yeah. Crazy. I'm about to feed an alligator. This is crazy. Y'all ready? Y'all ready? All right, we're gonna do this. Yeah.
And you're feeding these gators, which is, by the way, um that's quite bold. And what were you feeding him, by the way? And that's
I believe it was chicken.
chicken.
Yeah.
Now, do gators eat all types of meat? How does it work?
Yeah. They'll eat. Yeah, they'll eat fish. They'll eat small mammals, birds.
Wow.
Yeah. They'll eat a lot of stuff.
I see.
Yeah.
And in that case, was that your first time feeding the gators in the video?
I'm trying to think. That was my first time feeding gators. Yeah.
Really? Wow,
Yeah, that was
cool.
my first. I was like thinking back. Yeah, no, that's literally my first time feeding them. It wasn't my first interaction with gators, but it was my first time like feeding them like that.
I see. All right. So now the um the question I've been holding is till now is what has been so far in your journey, or in your adventure, to be more correct. What was the scariest encounter you've had with a wild animal?
Mm, scariest? I
Or something that may have happened that you didn't account for, perhaps.
that's a
You may
great
not have
question.
one.
Yeah, I don't think I have one. I mean, I could tell you, like, uh, I could tell you one where I was a little bit nervous, but um,
Okay.
that
Well,
that
yeah.
happened maybe I was in Florida like what 2 3 weeks, no, 3 4 weeks ago now. And I was hiking in the swamp, and my buddies and I came across a wild boar. Um,
Oh,
and
snap.
and those guys can be pretty aggressive. So it was kind of staring us down, but we kept our distance, and so that was a little bit tense. Um,
Wow.
Otherwise, I did. I mean, I was in that same swamp. I did find a pygmy rattlesnake, which was actually pretty awesome. but
Wow.
it was in the middle of the trail, and if I wasn't paying attention, I could have stepped on it. So that was,
Now,
but I wasn't
before,
scared.
yeah, I was gonna say, before you go on to these trails, do you do like a little bit of homework on what to expect on these trails, like what you might see or what lives out there?
Yeah. So like sometimes I'll intentionally go to a trail looking for something. So like that particular place, well, I wanted to do that hike anyway, but then my buddy was like, oh, there's or no, I saw on their website, their Instagram page, that there's rattlesnakes there, the pygmy rattlesnake. And
Now,
so I
what
was
is
like,
a
oh, we
pygmy
got
rattlesnake, by the way? Just to quickly explain that for the audience.
it's just a small, really small species of rattlesnake. So like full grown adults are pretty tiny. Like the one I found was maybe a couple feet long.
Okay.
And that was full grown. I don't think the bite is deadly, but it will mess you up. And contrast that with like the larger species of rattlesnake, which is the eastern diamondback rattlesnake. Those get pretty darn big. I have a picture of one on my Instagram page somewhere back there.
Yeah.
That
I'm
dude was,
gonna plug that here. That picture. I'm gonna put it at this point so we can see it. As well as the pygmy rattlesnake for comparison. But where do you find the diamondback rattlesnakes usually? The
so
eastern.
I didn't do that one in the wild.
Oh, okay.
So that one was is owned by a buddy of mine up in Oregon. who I
Oh,
went
I see.
to visit. He's a wildlife guy up there. He has a really cool operation. He goes to a bunch of shows, and so he has a really cool collection of snakes. Some of which he breeds. He's got snapping turtles. He's got Patagonian cavy, which is like this large rodent from like Argentina. He's got a
Wow.
bunch of cool stuff. Yeah, yeah. So I connected with him again through basically through social media. Good guy, real good guy. His name's Brad. Um, Brad's World Reptiles is the name of his place. Good, super solid
Cool.
dude, super smart, knowledgeable. So yeah, I just honestly like I just connect with people like that who are doing amazing work already, and I
Yeah.
like to highlight what they're doing as well.
Yeah.
Just just to show folks too that like these animals aren't out to get you, right? Like
Yeah.
they're people are a lot of times the fear is because of old school movies like arachnophobia, things like that, right? The spiders aren't out to get you, like they just want to be left alone. you know
My wife is like deadly afraid of spiders.
Mm,
So she has that fear. And so um I how do you yeah, so how, like you said, you're part of your goal is to, or part of your journey is to show that these animals are indeed actually not there to hurt us, right?
right,
Because
right,
I think books and movies and shows have created this alternate reality of what these guys are there to do. And so how would you how would you for someone, since my wife has she has arachnophobia, how would you let someone that has that fear know, like, that it's okay, like, to get them to open up?
yeah. I mean, I'll say this: my goal is not necessarily to convince even somebody to like pick up a spider or
Okay.
touch them or anything like that, right?
Yeah.
It's just maybe don't kill it, uh, um,
Well,
but yeah,
that's
I mean,
100%. Yeah.
I usually like to just talk about like right the importance and the value of the species in the ecosystem as reasons why they're important. Like right, like spiders are there, they just want to eat bugs. Some of them are big enough to eat small rodents or birds, but that helps to kind of regulate insect populations. You know what I mean? Which ultimately could reduce potentially the spread of some diseases, things like that, right? So that
Mm.
these spiders are super important parts of the ecosystems they inhabit, right? They help to regulate these things, and so I just start by with that, and
Yeah.
then just showing people like a little bit of a hands-on approach. Not that I expect them to, can show them that like, hey, this spider's not out to get me. Like when I was in Florida a few weeks ago, and to be honest, I wouldn't have done this if my buddy didn't do it first because I'm still learning, right? And
Right.
so we saw these beautiful spiders. They're called golden orb weavers. Some people call them banana spiders. There's another spider called the banana spider that's a very dangerous. It's not this one. um,
Okay.
and so they make these beautiful, huge webs, and they're just like these massive spiders. But he's like, dude, yeah, they don't bite. They're not trying to hurt you. And so he just went up to the web, grabbed it out of the web, and let it crawl. So he's like, you want to hold it? Handed it to me. I let it crawl. I was like, oh, I got to come back here and catch one myself. So that's what I did.
You
Came
did
back a few days later, caught another one. uh, and sure enough, so even for me, like as I'm teaching people stuff, like I'm learning myself, right? And that's what's
Right.
exciting. It's like I know stuff, but I don't know everything, right? There's people who know more than me, so I want to be around them so I can learn more, so I can educate more people, right?
That's cool, man. And the what you mentioned about the ecosystem and how important it is for all living creatures to continue to be allowed to live, and for us to not allow our first instinct sometimes to kind of affect that, right? Because
Right.
it can. I mean, there's a bunch of documentaries out right now about, the sea and what's happening with all of that,
Mm-hmm.
and there's one on Netflix now. I think it's called the sea secret something.
Conspiracy or something like that.
Sea,
Yeah.
yeah, Seaspiracy, yeah. And apparently it's kind of like trying to put pressure on the business side of fishing, right? And it's kind of like trying to let them know, hey, we're actually shortening the lifespan of not just fish but other people and animals, and the overall planet. So
Right. Right.
yeah, I'm you you know way more about these things. It just, for me, that bothers me a little bit. But and so, and I'm not sitting here saying that, I've never, made the mistake of when I was younger, making, the wrong judgment on some of these animals. But anyway, the point is, like you said, you learn, and you try to educate yourself the more you interact with them, or even if you see one passingly. Now, getting back to your adventures, you said that you have, so that spider that you went and it was called a, remind me of the name of that spider again.
Banana spider or golden orb weaver. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. And you
Hmm.
said, and now I've heard of some spiders in other countries,
Hmm.
like there's one apparently that is uh very deadly, if I'm not
Hmm.
mistaken. Correct me
Hmm.
if I'm wrong. I believe it's called the camel spider.
Okay. Okay. I'm
Yeah.
familiar with the camel spider. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So what is, they mentioned that they are supposedly very poisonous, right? They're apparently very
So
poisonous.
admittedly, I don't know a ton about camel spiders.
Okay.
However, I do know they're arachnids. I don't actually believe they're, um, I don't believe the bite is deadly, at least the species that I'm familiar with.
I see.
Um, um, in fact, I seen a guy, I think, get intentionally bitten by one. So, on YouTube. So, and
Okay.
he was fine. I just think the bite hurts.
The bite
Um,
hurts.
yeah, yeah. Hmm.
Are there any spiders that a bite could actually be
Pretty
serious?
bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, Australia, you've got the Sydney funnel web spider.
Okay.
That bite is very dangerous, and that's not a spider you handle. That's one thing you'll learn too. I'm learning too. Like, you kind of get to know different species, their temperaments, things like that. But
Yeah.
that's not one people handle. Like, their bite is very, very nasty. In the States here, surprisingly, the larger spiders like the tarantulas, like out here in California, every fall you can see. I think they're called blonde tarantulas out at Mount Diablo in Danville, California.
Okay.
The males will come out looking for mates, but those spiders, their bite is not bad. It might hurt,
Gotcha.
but it's no worse than a bee sting. But you've got smaller spiders, black widow, right? Not typically a deadly bite, just a painful one. And then, there's I've heard conflicting information on this, but the brown recluse, I've heard some people report they're in California. I've heard they're not. I'm not sure, but the brown recluse is native to the States, and
I
that
see.
bite is nasty.
Okay.
Yeah. Hmm.
Man, so all right. There, see, ladies and gentlemen, we learned about spiders and what's myth and what's not, and um, some you're not supposed to handle, as LB just mentioned, but because their bites can be more harmful. But so going on to these animals now, uh, out of the wild animals, right? Um, do you how many do you have on, like, at your place? Like, how many animals do you possess?
Great question. I have 6 turtles.
Six
Um,
turtles. Wow.
yeah,
Okay.
6 turtles. I have a rabbit.
Okay.
um, I have uh, a flat rock scorpion, and I have a whip scorpion or vinegaroon, which I actually have right here with me. I can show you in a minute.
I would love to
Um,
see some of these that you're mentioning. But yeah, continue. What else?
and I just got an iguana. Um,
No way.
so yeah, the species is a green iguana, but he's red, or orange.
Okay. Okay.
But beautiful, beautiful guy, adopted from a lady who couldn't take care of him anymore. Yeah, so I think that's all I have. Yeah, I think that's it.
That's it, huh? That's it.
Yeah.
Six turtles. Wow. So yeah, show us some of these beautiful creatures.
Yeah, let's see here. So this is Vinny. Here you go, buddy. Come here. Come on out. He looks creepier than he is. I promise. Okay, so I don't know if you can you see that?
Oh my God, yes.
So this is called a whip scorpion or vinegaroon. I believe the species name is Mastigoproctus giganteus. Um, yeah, so
Wow.
from southeastern United States, um, and they are a large non-venomous arachnid.
Okay.
Yeah, so they're related to like spiders and scorpions, but completely harmless. They have the way you could tell they're arachnids is they have 8 legs or 4 pairs of legs, but
I
the front
see.
two, you see those guys moving around there?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
There we go.
Yeah.
Yep. So
He's
those are
waving at us.
exactly. Say hi, buddy. So those are actually what we call vermiform appendages, or I'm sorry, not vermiform. Mixing that up. They are antenniform appendages. So their legs, those front legs actually function more like antenna than they do legs. They only walk on 3 pairs of those legs.
Oh, I see. Now, what
Hmm.
is when you so what is the purpose of the front two legs?
It's just to sense their environment. So like a bug would use its antenna, they
I
use
see.
their legs like that.
I see. I see. Now,
And then
yeah, go ahead.
Uncle, I was gonna say too, really one cool form of defense that these guys have, and it's why they get the name vinegaroon.
Okay.
So at the base of their tail, they actually have these glands that when they get scared or startled, they will shoot out a substance called that's composed of acetic acid, mostly acetic acid and some caprylic acid. The acetic acid is vinegar, right? So vinegaroon, that's how they get the name.
Wow.
They basically just shoot vinegar at you.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then, so hold on. So, what does something like this eat?
Small insects. So I'll feed
Okay.
him little the things called super worms, or I'll feed him crickets,
Gotcha.
roaches. Yeah.
I
Hmm.
see. That's amazing, man.
Yeah.
I kind of wish I was gonna say that we could have done this in person now because I want to be brave like you and hold one.
I
But
know, man.
like
You got to do it one day.
I want to. I want to. Maybe we'll catch up. I'll go on one of these adventures with you one of these days. So how how long does he would he live for?
That's a great question. I do not know the answer to that.
Okay, okay,
Off the top of my head, I have to look that up.
I see. But when did you get him?
I've had him for probably a year and a half,
Year and a half.
2 years now.
And
So
that's the biggest they get, right? It's the
yeah,
largest.
he's full size.
Full
Hmm.
size. Got it. I see.
Hmm.
I see. That's awesome, man. Are you able to show us any more of your awesome pets or?
Let me see. I have I have my scorpion, but he can be a little bit finicky. So let me see if I can get him. Maybe
Sure,
I'll just
man.
show you him in his enclosure.
Okay, fair enough. Fair
Uh,
enough.
I'll be right back. He's right.
Whatever is easy for you.
Let's see here. He's he can be a little bit more of a butt than come here, bud. Let's see.
Oh wow.
There he is.
Amazing.
So I
Okay,
call
yeah.
him Scorpio.
Scorpio.
Um, Scorpio, the flat rock scorpion. I don't I'm not very creative with names. That's Vinny the Vinegaroon. This is Scorpio the Scorpion. my iguana's name is Rojo, red in Spanish. So
I got you. I got you.
not
That's
very
cool.
creative.
Hey man, the fact that you have these animals is quite creative enough. But so tell me a little bit about Scorpio. Uh, can they be? Are they not venomous either, or how's that?
No, so he's venomous. So
Okay.
all scorpions are venomous. This is a whip scorpion. It's not a true scorpion. The first one I showed you,
Yeah.
but he's venomous. But this particular species, the venom is completely harmless.
Got it.
Uh, I don't even think I've never even seen him use it on his prey. So
Oh wow.
he has pretty powerful pincers there. And
Okay.
so he'll grab onto the prey and just kind of start eating it live.
I see.
I feel bad. I feel bad for it, but yeah,
Yeah.
he's pretty
And
harmless.
where are they usually as far as geography of like where? Scorpio's species would you would find them? Where would you find them?
Southern part of Africa. Hmm.
Wow.
Hmm.
So is that
Hmm.
where you got them from?
No, no, no. I got them from a exotic pet store here in Sacramento.
I got you. I got you.
Yeah, they're bred in country now, but sure, but they have breeders here in the States, I believe. So, but yeah, no, got them from a reptile store.
Wow, man.
Yeah.
Um, so the you don't have like the more conventional pets like a dog or a cat or anything like that.
I have a rabbit. I don't know if that's
Oh, that's
considered
right. You
conventional.
mentioned the rabbit. That's right. That's right. That's right. Now, how do these animals inside your home? How did you don't put them near each other? I'm assuming because some of them can be prey to the others,
No,
right?
yeah. So I have they have my scorpion and my whip scorpion. They have their own little enclosure. I actually have five of my turtles are in a pond.
Oh,
Um,
I see.
so I have two ponds in my yard, but I built a big one and put all the turtles in it.
Okay.
And then I have my sixth turtle. He's actually a really cool species. Maybe you can put a picture of him up
I will.
for
I'll do it
folks.
at this point for sure. Yeah.
Awesome, awesome. But it's called a mata mata turtle. So
Okay.
it's this really crazy, unique looking South American turtle.
Okay.
Um,
What's
it
unique
looks
about them? I mean, we'll have the picture, but describe it.
Yeah, so their head, like it kind of looks like a rotting leaf. Like it's almost like an arrow shaped, leaf shaped head. They
Okay.
have like all these extensions from their skin that just makes them look like rotting leaves.
All right.
Um, their shell kind of looks like a floating log or something.
I
Um,
see.
and they have like this kind of snorkel like nose. So they'll just sit on the bottom and just they have really long necks. So they'll just stick their head up above the water, stick the nose just above the surface, just to breathe and go right back under. And they're fish eaters.
I
So
see.
they're not like your traditional turtle where they like the pond turtles, things like that we have in the States,
I
for a
see.
couple of reasons. One is they don't have like jaws like regular turtles. So they don't bite down. They kind of, when the fish swims by, and it's pretty incredible watch. They strike out, open their mouth. It creates this vacuum, which actually sucks the fish and some water in.
Yeah.
It happens in the blink of an eye. I mean, you
Wow.
can go on YouTube and watch Mata Mata eating fish. It's like it's so fast. It's incredible. And then they just kind of spit out the water, swallow the fish whole. Uh, yeah,
So they
yeah.
don't really chew then.
No, no, they don't chew.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And then the other reason they're like different than maybe turtles, at least most of us in North America would be used to, is that they're side neck turtles.
What does that mean?
Um, so the more common turtles or tortoises that we're probably more used to. They pull their head kind of back into
Oh,
the
right.
shell.
Right. Right.
These turtles, they actually they can't do that. They just turn their head to the side and kind of tuck it in, but it can't go
Oh,
completely into the shell. Um,
I
yeah,
see.
side neck turtles are I think only exclusively from the southern hemisphere.
Okay.
So we wouldn't find any up here in like the States or anything.
I got you. Now, like you said, tortoises and turtles. Now, um, how big the would one of your turtles get as far as because you said you've mentioned Matamata, but the other five that you have, are they all the same breed?
Four of them are. I have four red ear sliders, which are just very common pets.
Yeah.
And then a Mississippi map turtle. And so they're all kind of like pond river turtles. Red ear sliders. I like a couple of mine just came from out here walking around, so they're not native to California.
Oh,
They're actually from like the east coast, I think, in the south. So
okay.
they're not native here, and so but what happens is, they have they have a pretty good bite. So people don't realize that they'll get bitten, or they'll just get tired of taking care of it. They'll just go put it out in the creek or pond out here.
Wow.
They are very hardy turtles. So they do just fine in our climate. They breed well. So
Mm.
they're a problem here because we have a native Western pond turtle that the red ear sliders are out competing.
Oh,
They eat the same foods, they inhabit the same territory, and the
I
sliders are
see.
just they're breeding more easily. And so they're out competing the native turtles, which is a problem.
I got you. So, but you said they're from southeast region of the United States, right?
Yeah, I believe like the East Coast and South is where they're kind of from.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
when they end up in California, it has to be strictly through human shipments,
right,
right?
correct,
Got
correct.
it. Okay. And how big does your turtles get? I guess the biggest one that you have.
Uh, they're they get bigger than you would expect. It's not like a huge turtle,
Yeah.
but they get a pretty good size. I couldn't say my biggest one. She's probably still got some growing to do.
I see.
But she's probably maybe 8 inches from front of her shell to the back of her shell.
Runners. Okay.
Yeah, she's a good size. She's a good size girl. She's getting
Okay.
bigger.
Yeah. Yeah. That's cool, man. And your wife is obviously supportive of all of this.
Yeah, she's not an animal person, but she's except the rabbit. That's her baby. That
That's
that
her
that
baby.
is
Got it.
hers. Yeah,
Got
she
it.
loves that
Cool.
rabbit.
Awesome, man. Are you planning to add any more animals to the mix or what?
No, no, no. I'm
No.
I'm I'm done. It's enough to keep up with.
Yeah, yeah, I'm sure because there's a lot of maintenance that's involved.
Right.
Um, that's cool, man. I mean, I only got two cats. My brother-in-law's cat because he stays with us, and then our French bulldog. But that's about it. Now, as far as where you're planning to go next, um, kind of enlighten us on plans you may have of future adventures that you're pursuing, whether it's you know locations that you haven't been to yet. Have you been to Africa yet, for example, as far as the
I haven't. I haven't. Yeah, I
okay,
gotta get there. Yeah, that's up at the top of the list. Yeah. Oh
right,
yeah.
yeah, 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 yeah. So how do you, I guess, so you just plan it through networking, like you said, right? Like you'll find a location and you just say, hey, I'm gonna go check this place out, and then wherever that may be. um and so is there anything in the near future that we should know about that you're planning to do, or a place you're planning to go to that you haven't gone yet?
Not right now. Well, kind of. So the pandemic has kind of made things a little bit more challenging.
Yeah.
Um, I will say I'm thankful in some ways because it's kind of slowed me down a little bit, and I've been able to actually learn a lot more about some of the native species that we have to California. So
Right.
that's been fun. Like banana slugs. Those are like I love banana slugs. I'm
Yeah.
probably the only person who loves slugs, but
I
um,
saw your video on that, and I'll post that on there too, on here. So
thank you. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
No, so that's been cool. But in terms of I'm going to Hawaii in like a week and a half or so.
Okay.
It's not like so some of my trips are kind of planned to go to do animal stuff, and other trips are just planned, and then we kind of just throw animal stuff
Yeah.
in the mix, right?
Yeah.
So Hawaii is that second type of trip. So me and my wife are going to hang out.
Yeah. Yeah.
But there's a few species I'd like to see while I'm out there. Particularly, I love sea turtles, so I got to see some sea turtles. And then there's some frogs that I want to see out there too. They're invasive frogs. They're from Puerto Rico.
Okay. What does
But
invasive frog mean?
so invasive in general just means a species introduced to a place that they're not supposed to be.
Oh, I
Um,
see. I see.
yeah, so like the red ear sliders here in California, they would be considered an invasive species.
Right, right, right.
Hmm.
But
Yeah,
um so what island are you guys headed to in Hawaii? Are you gonna island hop?
the Big Island this time.
Big
So
Island, yeah.
yeah, I've been to Kauai and Maui. My wife's never been to any island, so we're like, this would be a good first for us both. And so we just want to do some hiking and some snorkeling and just hanging out.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. So, but in the middle of that, I'm hoping to go see if I can find some frogs and maybe some other critters at night.
That's awesome, man. That's cool. I had the privilege of going to Kauai with my wife for our honeymoon, and there we actually saw some of the sea turtles
Hmm.
there,
Hmm.
and we got to swim with dolphins, which of course was amazing. And I mean, you can't go wrong in Hawaii. It's just there's no
Nope.
not there's like nothing. Oh, one thing about Hawaii though, and maybe you know about this. Apparently, you can't take your pets from other states, or
Mm,
there's a very strict procedure
hmm
or that you have to follow going into
hmm
Hawaii with pets. I don't know if you know anything about that, but I'm not sure about the strict procedure itself, but I was just wondering if you have any info on that.
Um, I, I, it doesn't surprise me, um, because like like, Florida's having this problem right now too, right? So, like, there's a lot of species from other countries, right? And then people get them as pets, and they get out, and the climate is perfect for them,
Mm.
so they do really well, and they outcompete the native stuff, right?
Oh, I see.
um or they're just like a nuisance, like iguanas in Florida. They're not from Florida, right?
Right.
They're introduced there now but they breed so well there, the climate's perfect for them, so they just do great. So Hawaii is probably trying to protect against that, because they already have some invasive chameleon species,
Mm.
that are from Africa.
Right.
um, those frogs that they're called coqui frogs, I think they're from Puerto Rico. There's
Mm.
several other introduced species, so I'm pretty sure, like, I know, for example, like my reptiles, like I couldn't take them with me if I were to move to Hawaii. I'd have to
Yeah.
adopt them all out.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that makes sense, right? Because they're trying to protect their ecosystems, and being an island, right, that can be a little bit more fragile,
Right. Right.
than maybe other places. And then there's, possibility of them carrying diseases that could
Mm.
potentially wipe out the native species. So there's all those sorts of risks that Hawaii, I think, is just protecting against, which I think is very wise.
It is. No, it is. It's a great law to protect the land there. Well, that's cool. See, I didn't know that. Awesome, man. So that sounds fun. You're headed to the Big Island, and uh, I'm looking forward to videos you post from there if you are. But uh, the other topic we wanted to talk about, it's kind of related, kind of not, because we've kind of mentioned, family. So um, you told me you're passionate about family as well. So um, elaborate on that. How far are we going with family that you're passionate about? Are we talking about just immediate parents, siblings, wife, kids? By the way, do you have any of those pets yet? Any
Not
kids?
yet, not yet.
Okay,
Not
cool.
yet. Hopefully,
we're
hopefully
we're
soon, but not yet.
yeah, I see. Awesome, man. Yeah, so tell me, obviously family's great. I mean, we all have families, but uh growing up, you guys, do you have any siblings, by the way?
No, I'm an only child.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
One of the rarities.
Hey, it's no, my best friend is the only child. Is He's an only child as well. Um, but I was gonna ask though is what was the dynamic like growing up? Did you guys do a lot of family get-togethers, reunions? Because you did say you had traveled a lot, so I'm wondering if part of that was due to family reunions and stuff.
Yeah, yeah, no, so yeah, but family's my family's pretty close, especially when I was growing up. We used to do a lot of stuff. My dad's from Chicago. So we would go out there, like every year, to see family for the summer, or we'd have like Christmases either there or out here. Everybody would fly in together, and we just all hang out. My mom's from Sacramento, but my grandmother's from Houston, so we'd go out there sometimes.
Wow.
I have family reunions down in Mississippi as well. I've been there
Wow.
a few times. Yeah, so it's yeah, I love family. It was me and my parents, but I'm pretty close to my cousins too. One of my cousins, actually, she's kind of like my sister. She lived with us for several years when I was growing up, so I wasn't always like alone. So that was nice. I call her my sister cousin. Uh,
That's cool, man. So
yeah.
Mississippi, Houston, Chicago.
hmm
How did you choose your sports teams, man? That's gotta
Man,
be.
I know. Well, I got to rock with my Kings. I'm Sacramento. I remember my dad and I went to a Bulls Kings game one
Yeah.
time, and of course we had to root against each other. Uh, my
Your
dad's
dad
a
would be
diehard.
your dad would be probably proud to hear that I'm actually a Bulls fan.
There you go. There
Yeah,
you
yeah,
go.
yeah. I grew up. Obviously, I was born in Iran, but I even in Iran, I when I was 7 or 8 years old, it was the heydays of the Bulls. So it was
Yeah. Oh
like,
yeah.
so that
Yeah.
was I kind of just latched on and I stuck with him. But I commend you for being a Kings fan, even through all the through all the tough years. But that's awesome though, man. Family is great because and reunions are awesome too. And it's cool that you have family kind of spread out through the states, so you guys get to travel within the states and have Christmases all over. So that's awesome, man. um Anything else you want to mention as far as we talked about Hawaii coming up, but maybe one of your like bucket list animals that you haven't seen yet that you're hoping to
Ooh,
see up close?
that's a great question. Um, I would have said cheetah, but I actually got to meet a cheetah in Australia at Australia Zoo, actually. So I would say that. But one thing I've really been wanting to do for like years now is I want to swim with whale sharks. Like
Oh
like
wow.
I want to go. I think you can do it in Mexico and the Philippines.
Okay.
My wife is half Filipina, so I was like, let's go with let's go to the Philippines.
Yeah.
Let's like I want to do this. Like I need to swim with whale sharks. Like that's at like the top of my bucket list. Like I got to do
Wow,
that. Yeah, yeah.
man, that sounds intense. Now, uh, let's bust some myths about sharks and whale sharks specifically. Um, they don't attack us. They don't attack, right? Unless they how are they provoked?
Yeah, so well with whale sharks they don't attack people. They eat like they eat like tiny like plankton. Like they eat small stuff. So
Okay,
they're not like your typical shark. They're the largest species of shark.
right.
But they're basically harmless.
Okay.
um so 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 that's cool. But in terms of sharks, yeah, most of them, I can't say all, but most shark attacks, right? They're um, either they think that you look like a seal or something, or they're like figuring out what the heck you are, right? But
Yeah.
unfortunately, they don't have hands
Yeah. Yeah.
to
Yeah.
feel, so they feel with their teeth,
Yeah.
um, and that doesn't feel so good for us.
Yeah.
Um, so that's usually what happens, and usually it's like if we like if prey is in the area too, then that tends to lead to more attacks.
Okay.
Some think it has to do with like water temperatures and you know what I mean. And to your point, kind of like the shifting of the ecosystems, right? If we overfish and
Yeah.
certain prey items move to different places to find fish that are closer to people, then sharks move to find the prey, and then
Oh
people
yeah.
get in the middle, right? So
It's like a
there's lots of
chain of events that follow each other. But yeah.
Exactly. So there's lots of things, there's also expanding, right? Like, the more resorts you start building in the ocean, the more people are in the water, right? The more we're going to come into contact with potentially dangerous sharks. But
It,
I mean, I, as far as I know, it's still not super common for,
yeah.
for people to get attacked by sharks. It does happen.
Right.
But there's much more dangerous things that we do every day, like driving,
Yeah.
that are more
That
dangerous than
thousand
that.
1000%. Some drivers are scarier than sharks.
Right, right. Seriously, I'll take my chances with a shark over some people on the road. Wow.
Now, the myth is this a myth when there's blood in the water? Do sharks actually are they attracted to that, or is it a specific shark, or is it not even? How does that work?
And as far as I know, yeah, I mean, I think that they can detect the blood in the water.
Okay. Yeah.
And that's potentially one way how they might find, maybe like a dead animal or something that they go eat on, right? They
Yeah.
can sense the chemicals, in the water. Yeah.
That's yeah. Okay. there's a lot of sharks in Bay Area. I know that. They're in
Yeah,
the
yeah,
Pacific
yeah.
Ocean. So, by the way, a quick, like, if it's completely random, but just want to know your opinion on this. On the speaking of San Francisco, it made me think of Alcatraz, and the guys that escaped in the '60s.
Yeah.
Did they make it or did they not make it?
I wish I knew, man. I wish I knew.
I mean, everyone has a guess, so yours is as good as any, right?
It's possible. I'll say it's possible. You know, I kind of like a good escape story, so I'm gonna go with they made it.
They made it. I want to say I made it too, even though I don't condone their crimes, but
Right.
but if they were smart enough to escape an unescapable prison,
Guess they earned their freedom, right?
yeah, exactly. Well, cool, man. Elbert, thank you so much for getting on. Again, but plug away your channels. You have your Instagram and YouTube, and then both are LB the Adventure, and then it's all spaced out on YouTube for the
Right.
same name. Everyone go check out his videos. They're very, very interesting and intriguing, to say the least. And you learn a thing or two about these specific animals that LB encounters with. I know I did, just watching a few, and I'm planning to watch more. And I'm excited about future videos coming out, and I hope you hit the Philippines to get that
Thank you.
off your bucket list, man.
Appreciate it. Yeah.
Appreciate it. Thanks again for coming on, and we'll everybody follow, subscribe, and definitely follow LB the Adventure on YouTube and Instagram, and Fumble Podcast on Instagram. All the social medias, I'll plug those in here, but definitely on YouTube, subscribe, illuminate the bell, and like the videos that you see. It'll help me out as well.
I second that. Go support this man.
Thank you, guys. Thanks again for joining. This was episode 19, Fumble Podcast. I'll catch you on the next one. Together we'll purify the mind and have a good time. I'll showcase your